A Monday off-season edition of Birds 365. John McMullen, Jody McDonald, and as we usually are on Mondays early, joined by Jeff Kerr, CBSSports.com. I saw a bunch of stuff that you wrote after the Super Bowl, but I need you to go on record here with our streamers on Birds 365. How bad did Kyle Shanahan blow that Super Bowl for the 49ers?
Oh, he blew it. Absolutely, he blew it. And I had the privilege to write about because I was ranting about in our CBS Slack room at the time. Why did he choose to get the ball first? And I literally said this, and my sports editor goes, "You know, if they lose, you're writing about this, right?" I'm like, and this was the coach of me. I'm like, okay, so you just put yourself in a lose-lose situation. Not only do you have to score a touchdown, but because you took the ball first, you probably should go for two. So there's no guarantee you get that. The only way you win by getting the ball first is scoring, going for two, and putting the pressure on the Chiefs to do that. Anything else, the Chiefs are, you kick the extra point and score a touchdown, the Chiefs are going for two. If you kick a field goal, then all the Chiefs need is a touchdown. It just didn't make enough sense to me. Is it the reason why they lost the Super Bowl? No, but it was just a baffling decision in a game where he had a couple baffling decisions.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I was interested what you said there, Jody. I haven't seen a bunch of people defending him. I might have missed it.
You want me? I'll reel off a couple.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
Jody, did you read my responses on Twitter that I ignore? They were all 49ers fans.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about 49ers fans. I'm talking.
I'll give you one, John. Dieter Kurtenbach, who's a very good reporter for the Bay Area News and host shows on KNBR. I had him on my CBS.
Probably a 49er fan.
He's a 49er reporter.
Yeah.
Which means he's not supposed to be. Are you a fan of the Eagles, John McMullen?
No, but there are
more. McMullen's not a fan of any.
Back to his standard.
Well, I get
on my show over the weekend.
You know what I'm proud of, Jeff? I've kept it since I had my national column. I have a file folder where every fan accused me of either being a fan of their hated team or I was a fan of a certain team, and I got to 28. I didn't get to 32. I was trying to get to 32. He's a fan of this team. He's a fan. Yeah, that's one of the things I take the most pride in. But let's be honest. Reporting has changed. There are a lot of reporters in Philadelphia. I'm not going to out anybody who like the Eagles. It shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. I don't know this guy you're talking about. Maybe he's legitimate. Maybe he's right down the middle. I don't know. But from the standpoint of Kyle, yeah, that was a mistake. And I told Jody immediately after the game, I couldn't prove it, but I thought they didn't understand the rules. And, he doubled down and claimed that he did, and he wanted the third possession. Guess what? He wasn't getting the third possession, win or lose.
That was my favorite argument. I wanted the third possession. Like, what third possession? Like, what are you talking about, dude?
But the players confirmed it. They had no stinking idea. The 49ers players, the ones who did read the scoreboard, and the other ones, they never talked about it. They said it. They confirmed it. So, yeah, he's full of what, but it's tough to admit mistakes in that position.
Yeah, but John, there's a middle ground here. He may well have known about it. He may well have met with members of their analytics staff, and he and Lynch to making decisions, and they dropped the ball in getting the information to the players, or maybe they stupidly thought that the players didn't necessarily have to know. Just go out and you do your job. We'll make the all-important decision. He may very well have known, but didn't give.
I would argue that's even worse.
It's bad.
And didn't inform the players. I would argue that's worse. If he's like, well, I know, they should know. No, that ain't how it works. You start talking about it like Andy and freaking training camp. Now Andy's a different breed. I don't think I kind of said no way to prove this, but I believe it. I bet you more than half the teams would have handled it the same way as Kyle, not Andy. And probably far more than that, probably 3/4. Andy's in a very small minority of being ultra prepared.
He's always been like that, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 99. That's the legendary story. Jody got it firsthand that Jeffrey Lurie said about the notebooks and the coaching staff. And by the way, this guy's not even a quarterback. think about it, this guy's not even a coordinator at the time. He's not on anybody's radar, and he was already ready for the crew that thinks, oh, coaches like the Baltimore Raven defensive staff. I don't want to go back to the Eagles, but oh, these guys got to take interviews. They're not prepared. They can't focus on the game. These guys have been preparing for this, and Nick Sirianni said it, for their entire lives. But Andy's different. He's on a different level.
I had the pleasure of interviewing Brett Favre several years ago, and I just mentioned Andy Reid. I just said Andy Reid, and he goes, "The most prepared coach I've ever seen."
Yeah,
And
it's unbelievable.
This is before he became Andy Reid. And he said, "I truly believe I won MVPs because of Andy Reid." I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
I thought that Shanahan screwed it over a couple of different times. But like John and I say often here, it does come down to the players. And Mahomes did march it down the field, aided by the fact that he knew he was going for it on fourth down. Why the hell do you take the ball?
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, that's a plus. But he did what he had to do, stuck it in the end zone. McCall Hardman in and out. Johnny Crackcorn, and I don't care, whatever the hell they call the play. It doesn't
Corn
matter.
dog.
Corn dog.
The actual call of the play, the naming doesn't matter at all. Does Mahomes have a legit chance to catch Brady and become the greatest quarterback of all time?
I will say, man, this is a tough one.
I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under.
You know what? I hate to be the guy, but let me know when he gets to 5, because Troy
That's
got
fair. That's fair.
Troy got 3 in 7 years, and I thought he'd get more. He didn't. And look, I'm not saying Mahomes ain't going to get more, because I think he will, but I think the conversation's a little more fair when he gets to 5. But he's going to have the numbers to challenge Brady.
And that's not an insult. I'm with Jeff. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things got to go right to win a Super Bowl, and this was his toughest road, and that's even a bigger credit to him. And right now, he looks unbeatable. But I mentioned during the season, and I love that Antonio Pierce story that Andy told. He texted Antonio Pierce, said, who thought the Chiefs were going to the Super Bowl after the Raiders beat them on Christmas? At Arrowhead, by the way.
We were talking about that in the press box that day, John.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're done. Or we didn't say they were done, but didn't look good.
Not the same Chief team we're used to. Exactly.
Yeah. They had a lot of hiccups. The Eagles beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Drop passes all over the place, starting from week 1 with Kadarius Stone. That's how they lost to the Lions. They didn't have Kelsey. They dropped a bunch of passes. They had a lot of hiccups this year and managed to persevere. So all the credit in the world to them. But, man, so many things. And John always the best example of this. He was a great quarterback when he was losing Super Bowls. And by the end, when he was winning Super Bowls, it was really Terrell Davis's team. And he kind of, rode the wave. Nothing wrong with that. But in hindsight, people go, well, Elway's got 2. Elway's great. He was great when he was losing Super Bowls. So it's not just about the quarterback. I call the quarterback in Kansas City a cheat code, though. Andy was talking to somebody, it was probably Peter King, because he did that thing. And he said the margin, he was talking about complacency in the Antonio Pierce thing. The margin from winning and losing in this league is so small. And he talked about complacency, and he felt the Chiefs got a little complacent, and that's why he texted Antonio Pierce to thank him for punching him in the mouth. And he was able to course correct. The Eagles weren't able to do that. That kind of clicked for me. Everybody looks, what went wrong with the Eagles? I think they got complacent. They won, what was it? It was 20, they were 14-1 and then 10-1. So 24 out of 26 starts with Jalen Hurts. They were on that run before the wheels came off.
And they were 27-2 if you date back to 2021.
Yeah. So when the wheels came off, and I think they got complacent. They're like, we're the Eagles. We're going to roll the footballs out, and we're going to find a way to win. And I don't think Sirianni was able to do that course correction. And Andy Reid said, look, if you guys don't do the things that you've done to get here, you're not going to win. And that's the Chiefs. And they have the it's a little bit easier for them because they do have the quarterback. They're always going to be involved. And not the Eagles have a very good quarterback, but I hope people realize there's a difference between Patrick Mahomes. But I thought that was for everybody, and everybody's still looking because you saw those guys, Jeff, at Radio Row. What went wrong? And they're all like, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I think Andy put his finger on it. He's always helping the Eagles. I think he helped the Eagles again. It was stinking complacency.
Yeah.
I think.
And Andy's dealt with so much over the course of his career, from quarterback injuries to, he's been challenged on losing locker rooms before. So he's had 25 years of preparation for this. And I just remember talking to players. This is back in 2002 when McNabb got hurt. Andy knew how to right the ship and said, look, we're going to be fine. And I think everybody just kind of gravitated toward that. Like, look, we're still one of the best teams in the NFL. Our MVP candidate, Donovan McNabb, is out for the rest of the regular season. They weren't even sure if he was going to be back. But remember, Andy started the whole Coy's our boy thing when Coy Detmer was quarterback. And what does Coy do? He throws for almost 300 yards against the 49ers, and he gets hurt. And they find a way to still win games with A.J. Feely, who took well, I guess he took more because he played at the end of the 2001 season, that meaningless game. But still, it was the way he was able to gravitate a team and to keep a locker room together, I thought was always his biggest strength. And he did this year.
All right. I'm going to make a statement that when you first hear it, you go, what the F is he talking about? Travis Kelce is flying under the radar. And that's kind of difficult to do when you're dating Taylor Swift and the whole world, including TMZ and paparazzi and whatever, follow you every move. He's flying under the radar because I just asked Jeff Kerr. I've been asking everybody on the show. We've been talking about here. Is Mahomes in the conversation for GOAT status? And that's the quarterback position, which most everybody worries about. Why aren't we talking about Kelce as the GOAT of tight ends?
I kind of wrote about this for CBS. I brought up the conversation, and the first said, "Oh, he's no Gronk," and I said, "Well, no, his numbers are better than Gronk. He's almost got as many Super Bowls as Gronk." Yeah, I mean, everybody goes, "Well, he doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns." I'm like, okay, is that the argument you're going to use for Gronk? Because he's got more receptions, he's got more receiving. Well, Gronk's hurt. I'm like, well, why is that Travis Kelce's fault?
Right.
And so, I mean, it seems like the barometer is obviously Tony Gonzalez, and his numbers are going to be very hard to catch. But I mean, Travis Kelce's easily top 3, in my opinion, right now.
I think people talk about it. I think the difference is quarterback. People are obsessed with quarterbacks. I mean, he's a tight end. So people talk about him in the conversation with the best tight ends. But that just doesn't have the same cachet as Tom Brady and Joe Montana and Patrick Mahomes.
Same with head coaches,
Yeah, well, head coaches, a little bit as well. But I think in his position, I mean, he's in the conversation. And, you can differ. Gronk was more well-rounded. He's a better blocker, but Kelce's obviously a better receiver. And he's a better blocker than people realize. I mean, that's why he got fired up and nearly killed Andy Reid, because I guess it was who missed that block. I think it was Noah Fant who missed that block.
It was Noah Fant.
And he was fired up about it. It's like, I would have gotten away, and he probably would have. So I think he's in the conversation. I think he gets his just due. I just think it's not as high profile a position. I mean, everything's quarterbacks.
Now, we were talking about Andy Reid. I also did that list. Where's Andy Reid rank among the greatest coaches of all time? And I said before the Super Bowl, if he wins, he's going to be top 5. I actually had him 4th over Chuck Noll. Kind of curious to see where you guys have.
Boy, I haven't thought about it, but he's easily top 10. How high do I go? I'd have to think about that. I still put Belichick 1.
I put Vince 1 over Bill.
Right. And 1 and 1. I got no problem with anybody that argues.
I have no problem with Vince. And then you start talking about Chuck Noll, obviously. Yeah, he belongs in the conversation. Tom Landry belongs in the conversation. George Halas belongs in the conversation. But
I had Halas 3rd.
Different era. But Andy's easily top 10, easily. And the most impressive part to me is the consistency, because I value I think being consistent is harder than winning one. Like, everybody disagrees with me. I said this on Cilio's show. I was like, one of the most impressive things in NFL history, and I mean this, was Buffalo getting the 4 consecutive AFC championship games. And if they win one, Scott Norwood makes a field goal, they're looked at differently.
John, I'll one up you. They won 4 consecutive AFC championships.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant to say. The consistency to do that is just so difficult in a league, what Andy was saying, again, built on parity. You're not supposed to be able to do that. So, Andy, all the NFC championship games here, and then when he got to Kansas City, and now he has the superstar, all-time great quarterback. I mean, the record is just unbelievable, but the consistency is even more impressive to me. That's why he's so high on my list.
You know, he's gained like 30 or 35 games on Belichick in the win column over the last 4 years.
Yeah, well,
it's crazy. Like,
Belichick left. Now he's got Brady. Now,
Yep.
I mean, I say, I have tremendous respect for Peyton Manning, even though he's only got 2, even though he only, and by the way, his last one, he was a bad quarterback. Again,
Man, he was a ride-along.
Yeah. I call Peyton Manning the greatest regular season quarterback of all time because of the consistency. When Indianapolis started their year, they're like, the over-under's 10. A bad year, you're going to win 10. You're going to win double digits. And then it's just a matter of how good the year was going to be. And it was usually 13. It was 12, 13, 14.
They'd always
playing 16
12-0 or something like that.
Yeah.
Too.
Just the consistency in this league is more impressive to me. But, obviously it's about Super Bowls. I mean, can't get over that.
That's what everybody judges by. All right, Jeff Kerr, let's bring it back to the Eagles. John and I would talk about the NFL calendar. 3 weeks till the quote-unquote new season starts and free agency, although we all know there'll be tampering aplenty at the combine next week with agent talk and the like. Eagles have 19 free agents, I think it is, 18 of which are unrestricted. They've got one restricted free agent, Jack Stoll. So let me ask you about him. Will the Eagles make him an offer? Will they put a tender out there for him? I get that Jack Stoll's a good blocker, and I think there is a need for a good blocking tight end in the NFL. But the Eagles already have Dallas Goedert, who can certainly do that and do both roles. I got no use for Jack Stoll. I'm ready to move on from Jack Stoll. The Eagles over the last several years, Sirianni coached team, and he's still the head coach, have seen to have an affinity for the guy. And I think the quarterback kind of likes him. Is Jack Stoll going to get a contract offer from the Eagles?
I think Eagles need to improve behind Dallas Goedert, but I don't think it needs to be at the expense of Jack Stoll. I think there's a role for Jack Stoll on this football team for all the reasons you mentioned, Jody. Like, if they get rid of him, I'm not going to play this soft violin, but I think there's a way Jack Stoll can be on this team in 2024.
Yeah, I think he'll be here. I think Howie might play some tricks, to Jody's point, and say, well, the restricted number is a little bit too high, so we're going to cut you, not cut you, let you non-tender you, make you unrestricted and sign him at a lesser number. I think he did that with Boston Scott a couple of years ago. I think he may try that, but I think he'll be here. Yeah, and I'm with Jeff there. Yeah, you want to get better, but you can have Jack Stoll as well. I think the bigger issue is getting that backup tight end that can catch the ball a little bit. And Grant Calcaterra hasn't proven he can do it at a high level yet. They got nothing.
John Mack, hold on. Shame on me. I should remember. I don't remember. Was it Arnold? Who was the guy who they brought in as
it was Dan Arnold.
Dan Arnold.
Dan Arnold. Who you told me catches everything that comes his way.
Does.
Damn, there's a tight end who can actually catch the football. This guy got a chance. He didn't make the team. So they need to do better than Dan Arnold this year. Because if they started that thought process, got to get a better catching, receiving backup tight end. They gave it a shot last year, and then they bailed on it because Arnold didn't make the team.
I was in the John McMullen camp there. I liked the signing when they did.
Yeah. I got that. Thanks for bringing that up. I got that one wrong, Jody. But also don't forget about Albert.
I brought it up because you're telling me they're going to get a pass catching tight end, and I'm saying they did last year, and then they said, never mind.
Well, they took 2 swings at it. Don't forget Albert Okwegbanon. That was he brought on.
At least they kept him around all year to not play.
They took, so they got to get better at that position. But I think they're going to bring back Jack Stoll. Noah Tungia is still here, by the way, on a futures deal as well. But they need to get better. They need to get better at the receiving part of it behind Dallas Goedert. But I don't think they have to do it at the expense of Jack Stoll. But since Jody went down the free agent, here's the question I'm going to ask you. Looking at the unrestricted free agents, and we'll put aside Jason Kelsey and even Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. So put those guys aside because that has more to do with the sort of stuff they put in the bank long term, their meaning to the organization. But if you look at this unrestricted free agent group, is there anybody you would worry about if they lost?
No.
Anybody.
So I had to do the franchise tag deadline, or one franchise tag candidate for every team if eligible.
There's none.
The Eagles. I was like, nope. I'm like, forget it. Don't even waste your money. I think that's how I wrote it. Don't even waste your money.
I would argue it's Braden Mann. That's you have to give. Howie obviously took some hits and deserved. He didn't have as good as a year coming off his early in the season. Everybody was like 2-time executive of the year, not even close. Didn't get 1 vote. But long term, he said this. There's nobody that's an unrestricted free agent other than those veteran guys that would be all DeAndre Swift. All right, if they get a decent deal, but you're not going to cry on your pillow what they lose. Yeah. Even Braden Mann. Braden did a great job. I think they should bring him back. But
if you tagged Mann, it would be, I think, $5.1 million. I would pay the punter that.
Yeah, you can't tag him, but they should bring him back. They should find a way to, and he should want to come back. I guess Howie spoke very highly of Zach Cunningham. But are you gonna weep if he's not back?
I wouldn't be shocked if Zach was back.
No, that's fine. But I'm saying if he isn't,
I'm not gonna play the soft violin for him.
Yeah. So I think Howie set that up pretty well. So I do give him credit to that. The Eagles, most teams are worried about losing a player or two. The Eagles really aren't in that position.
They'll be getting rid of some players on their contract too. Like, do you expect Kevin Byard back here?
Not at that number. Not at that number. I mean, if there's something we don't know about, and Vic Fangio comes in and says, "Well, I'd like to have that experience. I think he fits. I think I can work with him," but they'll have to renegotiate the contract. There's no way he's coming back at that number.
I mean, this isn't exactly breaking news here, but I just feel like they're going to be very active in free agency this offseason.
Yeah.
They're going to have to be. They're losing. You guys just ran down the list. 18 names. See you later. Bye. See you later. Bye. So
well, no, they're going to bring some guys back. No.
Kerr. They've only got how many draft picks?
That's not what I'm saying. They're going to bring some guys back who are unrestricted free agents. I'm saying.
I need a prediction out of you right now. 18 guys. On the 19, if you want to add Jack Stoll, how many of those guys will be Philadelphia Eagles next year?
Are we doing a live edition of Stay or Go here? We're not going to write about
live edition. Live edition.
Jody, go down the list, and McMullen and I will tell you if they stay.
Exactly. We got 2 minutes here. Kelsey.
I think he's retiring.
Yeah, I'm 50.
Go. Fletch.
Go.
Jeff.
Go.
Brandon Graham.
Back.
Stay.
Marcus Mariota.
Go.
Gone. Yeah,
right.
Gone.
DeAndre Swift.
Go.
Gone.
So just so you know, scoreboard, 1 stay, 4 goes. Boston Scott.
Go.
Back. He's back. He's
A
a
split?
glue
Okay.
guy. He's a glue guy. He's cheap.
Yeah, I kind of want to side with John on this, but I feel like they're going to change some things up at running back.
Zach Cunningham, how he likes.
Stay.
I think he's gone. I
Okay,
think
so that's
how he's
another-
how he's trying to get through a press conference. I think he's gone.
Another split. Justin Evans,
Gone.
Go,
Too many
go.
injuries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shaq Leonard,
Gone. He was
might
gone.
retire. Yeah, he might retire.
Suapeta.
Sua, I think might be back. It depends on will he get 2 years somewhere else? He might be back. I'm going to lean stay.
I'm with John on that. I think he might be back.
Rashad Penny.
Gone.
No. Great guy, by the way, but gone. Rashad Penny.
Alameda Zacchaeus.
Gone.
As long as Nick Sirianni's here, he's got a role on this offense. Gone.
Thank you, Coach. Nicholas Morrow.
Gone.
Alberto.
Gone.
Braden, man, you both said stay.
Stay.
That's good. So do I. Jack Driscoll.
Similar to Sua. If somebody thinks he can be a starter, he's probably gone. Is going to give him a decent contract. So he's a wait and see guy. But I'll lean towards stay again with Jack.
Okay. He likes it here too, so I wouldn't be shocked if he was back.
Injured Sean Bradley.
I'd bring him back.
Yeah, why not? Bring him back.
Quez.
Gone.
No, gone.
And Jack Stoll, we already talked about. So both of you guys are under 500, are less than half. So if it's 19, you got 8. So 10 roster spots are opening up. So I get back to my point for Jeff Kerr asking, they're going to be busy in free agency. They have to be. They got holes in the roster. They're losing all these free agents of their own. They need to be replaced by somebody. You telling me they're going to have 9 undrafted free agents on this team this upcoming offseason?
No, they got a lot of draft picks, but they have money.
They got 8 draft picks, of which 4 we don't know.
You know what one of my intriguing questions in free agency is? I got to do this. I kind of want to put it as a bonus question. What team takes their shot on Quez Watkins?
Somebody will take it because
someone will, but I'm just curious who.
By the way, I saw Nelson Aguilar re-signed with Baltimore.
Going to year 10, by the way.
Yeah, amazing. I got I don't know if you got any, but I got a couple. The Eagles should bring Nelson Aguilar back. And they've said, and first of all, Nelson's not a bad player, and and he had a great Super Bowl here. But obviously he wasn't. Nelson Aguilar would rather shoot himself in the face than come back to Philadelphia. Nobody thinks about the other side. Yeah. When you shit on somebody for so long, guess what? They don't want to come back. So even if the Eagles wanted Quez Watkins back, he doesn't want to come back. But and that's why I bring up Nelson. But somebody will give him a chance. And he's not that good. So it's not going to work out.
But Nelson was more productive last year than Odell Beckham was, and Odell Beckham made $12 million more than him.
Nelson is a great route runner, could get open with ease. He just couldn't catch the football consistently, and that's a big part of the.
I don't know, Quez Watkins. Yeah,
he was much better than Quez Watkins.
Yeah,
kind of a prerequisite to be a receiver in the National Football League. Catching the football, that kind of, and I just remember you heard it here on Birds 365 on February, whatever date it is. Shooting, what'd you say, John? Who's shooting himself in the face? I might have to shoot myself in the face on Birds 365
Nelson.
If Andy Reid signs Quez Watkins, and Quez all of a sudden.
Oh, he's gonna run.
If Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes can lay it out there and Quez can catch the football in next year's Super Bowl,
Quez is
you may want to turn into Birds 365 the day after.
I got one for you. Quez Watkins is a significantly better football player than Kadarius Toney is.
I don't agree with that, and I'm not a big Kadarius Toney fan.
I can't stand Kadarius Toney.
Here's the problem with Quez that just I can't figure out. He is a terrible, and I mean terrible, manufactured touch player. Like Andy, you're saying Andy wouldn't use him in that way. He's not good at it.
What was the stat Ruben Frank had? Was it like every time Quez Watkins has been targeted over 20 yards over the last 20 games, he either fumbled it or it led to an interception or
Well,
something
yeah.
like that?
I
I think Rube tweeted it, and I'm just like, wow, Rube.
I do think, look, his confidence is shot, and he needs to get out of Philadelphia, and he might be a little bit better somewhere else. But again, he's a speed guy who you can't use in speed type situations. You can't run corn dog with him. You can't run end arounds with him. He was a terrible kick returner. Don't even think about punt returners. He can't make the first guy miss. It's weird. He can run, but that's about it. So
you know what upsets me about guys like Quez Watkins, and this isn't on Quez Watkins, but guys like him. I'm tired of people saying he's a bust. He was a day 3, 6th-round draft
I
pick.
agree. Yeah, I agree. He's not a bust.
But like these guys, they're lottery tickets.
Think about they drafted.
Yeah, but see, no. Kerr, you're as guilty as everybody else. At some point, where you were drafted becomes irrelevant. When you've been in the league for 4 years, you can't look back and go, yeah, but he was a 6th-round pick. He was the guy who got
I just don't like
starting
people
reps
calling
in the
him a bust.
league for years, and then that's the bar you've got to hold him to, not where he was drafted. When you're drafted, of course, that's this first year, okay, second year, maybe. By the time you're on a team for 3 years, where you were drafted, for me, becomes completely and utterly irrelevant. What have you done for those 3 years? That's what we're going to measure you against.
But I don't like people calling him a bust because he's not a bust.
He's grading that. No, but you can't have it both ways, Jody. If people always grade drafts, and they're saying, "Oh, this draft, this draft, this draft, that." If you're a 6th-round pick, take Quez Watkins' name out of the equation. If you're and take Jason Kelsey's, who's a 6th-round pick, who's going to turn into a Hall of Famer. Erase the name. If you're a 6th-round pick in the NFL. And you make
if you erase the name, then he's not a bust because you erased the name.
Let me finish. If you're a 6th-round pick in the NFL and you make it to be a vested veteran, you are not a bust. You are not supposed to make it that long in the NFL. So if you're grading personnel guys, like different calendars, so you'll see personnel guys get blown out after the draft as they get fired because they didn't draft well. From that standpoint, when you grade those guys, if you got a 6th-round pick that turns into a vested veteran with your team, I mean, I don't even think a 6th-round pick, if they hang in the NFL for 5, 6, 7 years, is a bust. Average-wise, if you look at it from how many turned into nothing, that's what I think Jeff is talking about. But that's how I look at it.
Well, this all started when people were really overreacting. So remember when Wendell Smallwood was here? He's a bust. I said he was a 5th-round draft pick. The fact that he's even still in the league is impressive because most of these guys get cut by year 2.
Yeah, so it's a different scale. If you're grading the individual player, I get what you're saying, Jody. He's not a difference maker. He's not, Nick probably gave him too many chances, let's be honest. All that, I agree with it. But if you're grading a personnel guy on a 6th-round pick, and remember, the Eagles carpet bombed that stinking position that year, and he lasted longer than Jalen Reagor and John Hightower, who were drafted ahead of him.
Yeah.
So those are the ones where you got to pay, and people.
John Hightower's in the UFL now.
Yeah. So
I understand the point you're trying to make. I disagree with it. You can look at the individual and what he did. If you want to just use him as a draft position and an evaluation of a draft, okay, yeah, that I get. And you can either say that pick was or wasn't a bust. When you've established yourself in a league for years, and then you're going to, after a specific period of time, this being 4 years, look back and go, yeah, but he was a 6th-round pick. So what? He was a 6th-round pick who had become a starting wide receiver for a team and then went backwards. That's a bust. When you achieve this in 3 years and then drop off the face of the earth, you become a bust, in my estimation. That's how I define bust. Not by
I'm just like if you're Alan Wolking or you're Chuck Walls, that's a check in your column. If you're one of the personnel guys, and he's a Southeast guy, so it's probably Alan. probably Alan Wolking. That's a check. That's you did a good job there. Other than a negative, then you're talking about the coaching staff. If you get to a point where you turned in, and you're right, the last 2 years, Quez Watkins went backward. Then you got to start looking at the coaching
Well,
staff.
I got upset too over, we're talking about the bus talk. Did you guys know apparently Carson Strong was a bust?
Undrafted.
Undrafted. Remember, he was going to make the team over Tanner McKee. He was going to be QB too. And then all of a sudden, Tanner McKee is a good preseason game. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
It's a good laugh.
That would be ridiculous. That would be stupid because Carson never established himself as anything. Quez did. That's why you can call Quez a bust, because he reached a level and then he went backwards. I will judge who is or isn't a bust much more by what they did on the field than their draft position.
I'll say in 2021, Quez was a bad player on an overachieving team. How's that?
Yeah, I remember having the conversations on this show before the Eagles got A.J. Brown. I was stunned how many fans. I would say they need to get better at wide receiver 2 at the time, because I thought
Quez.
Yeah, and no, Quez is fine. Quez is fine. Jody, no, I said so many times, no, he's not fine. He maybe he was fine as a wide receiver 3. Turned out I was wrong about that, but there was no stinking way he was going to be a wide receiver 2 in this league. And obviously they went out and got A.J. Brown, and that not only knocked Devontae from 1 to 2, it gave him probably the best, or certainly in the conversation, to be the best wide receiver 2 in the NFL. So things worked out, but it's troubling, by the way. We talk about free agency. It's troubling how this team has not been able to draft at least some, it could be find, I'll say, because it could be an undrafted guy, it could be anything, to find a competent third receiver. And Olamide was as close as they got, but I mean, when you start talking about blocking and hard work and dirty work, you got to have somebody who makes plays and more consistently than they've been able to put together.
Could Covey be that guy?
I don't think they'll give him the opportunity.
Don't go there.
I don't think they'll give him the opportunity.
He's got some support though, amongst people.
Who does he have that support from?
That's off the record.
Anyone of consequence?
There are a couple people of consequence.
Somebody of pretty large consequence.
Yeah, John knows who I'm talking about.
No. You open up this door, now you got to walk through it again.
Well, that was off the record.
That's off the record.
Off the record. But I would say this is last year. This is when everybody's not performing. If the Eagles go out and get somebody with, I don't know, I look at Mooney with Chicago. I mean, because I think he would be a fit as a slot guy. He can run.
I like Mooney a lot too, and I don't think he's going to be back in Chicago.
He can.
Yeah, but you think he's going to sign on with the team as a wide receiver 3?
Yeah, I don't think
he was a wide receiver 1 in Chicago 2 years
ago. For a little bit.
He's not grabbing a 3 spot here in Philadelphia.
I don't think he's that good.
Not happening.
I don't think he's that good. So I don't think there are other teams.
You don't think he's a legit 2?
He wasn't a good 2 last year.
I think he's a good 3. And I think, some team might overreach. I haven't looked at every other team, and they might need, and he might be an upgrade, but
I'll tell you who would be a nice guy to do the dirty work on this team, who would probably be an upgrade over Zacchaeus. Equanimous St. Brown. We're going the Chicago route.
Well, I like his brother, and I like his name. I like his first name, but he drops the football more than
he drops the football a lot. Yeah, he does.
And by the way, he was the better receiver. He was better than Amon in college.
Yeah,
he was the better receiver. I thought he had a chance to be. He just drops the ball way too much. Way too much.
He's got talent. I mean, the whole family is talent.
Yeah. St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best receivers in football. I mean, he is unbelievable. He is tremendous.
I get to interview him every offseason, and I was one of the first to ask him this. I said, "Do you remember who was drafted ahead of you?" And he listed them all. like just right off the bat. Like, hey, you're going to be good. And he laughed. Like,
All right.
what motivation?
You can say that it was a freaking or whatever, but Darnell Mooney's 1,000-yard wide receiver in the league. They don't sign his threes. I guarantee you, wherever he signs during this
Well,
offseason, at minimum, it's
Christy
going to be
Jones once had 890 yards in a season.
890 isn't 1,000, is it?
He still had a productive year and then fell at the face of the earth. Since Darnell Mooney did that.
Yeah.
Just denoting the fact that he had 1,000-yard season. They're not. How many guys in the league this year had 1,000-yard seasons?
I don't know.
You're Mr. Kerr. You're Mr. Stats. Yeah, I'm sure you know this off the top
I'm
of your head.
texting you.
How
after
many
this
wide
show.
receivers had 1,000-yard seasons this year?
Well, they went.
It was 11.
You know, I get, and that's my whole point. When
And
you
by the
give
way,
them-
22 was still 16 games, right?
no,
They played
20
17-2 now or 3?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is 3 years we played.
Yeah.
17.
This was 3. All right, so it was a 17-game season. I bet you
You
there
know,
was 25 guys in the league
Look,
that had
and
1,000.
I don't give the Bears credit a lot, because I haven't been a big fan of the way they've gone about this rebuild, and we'll see. I mean, this year they have a chance to get Caleb Williams and another great player. Who knows? Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe they can put that together. But that's what you're looking at. Yeah. Did he have 1,000 yards? Was he a 20-point scorer on a bad NBA team? Yes. He was tremendous, and he made plays when the opportunity.
Paid, John. That gets you paid. That
28 guys had 1,000 yards this season.
Coming off that
there are 32
year,
teams, so that equates to a number 1 wide receiver for me. Now we all know he's not a 1.
Tell
He's
you
a
who
2.
wrote 20 points per game last year, Jody Mack. Come on, man.
Think about it this way, Jody. He had 1,000 yards, as you mentioned, in 2021, and first of all, that's 2 years ago. Number 1, and this is a team that gave up the farm to get DJ Moore, and they're talking about who's a great receiver, DJ Moore, and now they're talking about getting Marvin Harrison Jr. At least some lip. I mean, they know they got to get better, but and that again, you have to look at the totality. But the difference between him and a guy like Quez Watkins, Quez couldn't even be a bad 20-point scorer on a bad. When you give him the chance to catch the football and make the play, he's going to make the play, and that's good. But he's not a top-tier receiver. And most teams are smart enough to realize that.
Well, again, just to use your phrasing, 3rd wide receiver. At best, that makes you the 65th best wide receiver in the league. Because if you got 32 teams and there's 2 wide receivers in front of you on each team, that makes you number 65. I don't think he's number 65. That's the point I'm trying to make. Not a 3. He's better than a 3. All right, Jeff Kerr, thank you very much. We kept you almost an entire hour.
All right, this is fun, guys. I enjoy when Jody goes off the rails here. And you did not disappoint me.
When I feel the need to reel you guys in, I do what I got to do. What can I tell you? Jeff Kerr, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, bud.
CBSSports.com. All right, Birds fans, here's your chance to save up to 40% on your car insurance right now from one of JAKIB Sports' great partners. Here's what you need to do. Call one of their managing partners, Jim or Fran, and tell them you're a friend of JAKIB Sports and Birds 365.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!